Hi, this is a Yesterday's Moose production. Today I'm going to be playing RPG Maker 2. And the game that I'm going to be playing with RPG Maker 2 is a game that I made myself called Defenders of Light, The Three Worlds. Currently this game is still in demo form. It is not a complete game. Let's go ahead and get things started. I'm going to take this opportunity to turn the vibration on so that I can feel the rumble during the game. This game does use rumble. And I'll go ahead and skip the cutscenes to get right into the action. Oh, really? You don't want to watch the cutscenes? No cutscenes. Okay, but you can always load a new game and select different options. Have fun! Smiley face. I present. And as always, a Yesterday's Moose production. Here's the title screen, which is timed up as best as possible with the music. Defenders of Light. The Three Worlds. Copyright 2017. This screen will continue to rotate until it asks you to press the start button. And you can actually press any button to get things started. And this brings us to First World. There's Ability Dude's house. There's the character select spot. There's the land door, which requires 4 light to open. Another land door, which requires 6 light. And the final land door that requires 7 light. And there I am. Thank you for downloading and playing my demo of Defenders of Light 2017. You are able to explore First World, Caterpillar Land, Aqua Land, and RPG Land. Although there isn't much to do in Aqua Land right now, remember, this is a demo. I would recommend trying First World and Caterpillar Land, plus learning abilities for Sneakers and Amber before proceeding. Warp 2, using the square menu, returns you to start position and moves you other places. Some locations you must visit first to access. Of course, this is an open world game, so the choice is yours. Please enjoy your gaming experience. And here we go, finally into the game. You can open up the square menu, which is a custom menu. Allows you to view the total for the entire game, as well as individual totals for worlds and lands that you've visited. You can change the camera angle to a high camera angle or a low camera angle. For now, I'm just going to stick with the medium camera angle. View the whole map, and those icons that are flashing there are different points of interest. They change depending on things that you've done. You can view the amount of minigames that you have won, and this will show every time you finish a minigame, and a retry count will show every time you lose a minigame. You can turn on and off those options pretty much any time that you want, provided you're not in a minigame. We'll get things started by collecting some shards. Go into Ability Dude's house. And he says, I'm super happy that you have been revived. With enough shards, I can teach abilities that will help defeat Sorcerer's Hideout. Sneakers, you need 8 shards to learn Dragon Eye's ability. And the way I set it up was so that as soon as he says the number of shards that you need, it will pop up above his head. There's the blue orb that shows that you need to learn abilities. Once you have learned all of the abilities in that ability house, it will turn gray. Go into the character select menu. Normally you wouldn't have all of the characters right away, but for the purposes of this demo, I've included all of the characters. I'll just pick Sneakers again. And there's a closer view of the first light door. Buttons may be able to use this. I must learn an ability first. Kara may be able to use this. The reason why I added that text was when people were playing the demo of this game, they wanted to know who needed to use the abilities and where. Nightmare, Sneakers, play minigame, and earn light. Match 3 objects, 30 seconds. And every time I get a match, it will add 1 to the total. If I was to happen to pick the wrong one, I would actually lose a little bit of life. But life is completely replenished when you win the minigame. And as you can see, the number of minigames won, or the minigame wins, increases by 1. Good soldier. Sneakers, you earned light. You're amazing. Play mini match again. Every time you win a minigame, it will show the name of the minigame that you just played. Sergeant Hurtman, play minigame and win to earn light. Herd baddies to flame, avoid touch, 30 seconds. What that means is if you touch the bad guys, you will lose a little bit of life. Once you collect light on the top left-hand side of the screen, it will show the total number of lights that you've won for that particular place, and on the top right-hand side of the screen, it shows the total number of lights that you've collected overall. Phil Metaljack. And the name of that minigame was Hurt 'em. Eva Dark. Yes, play this minigame. Cross bridge, tile steps limited, 30 seconds. As you can see, there's a countdown for each step that you take. And I happen to lose. And I get the option of trying again or quitting the minigame. 1 retry is added to my retry count. And before there was no option to quit minigames, but again, I received a suggestion to add that option so that you can escape a minigame if you keep losing at it. So I went ahead and added it. Took a little bit of work, but it works now. I also added the quit option to boss battles. For this demo, there's only 1 boss battle that I will eventually get to. Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden! Now I'm just gonna change the Defender of Light that I'm playing as. I'll change to buttons. Some of the characters already have abilities, at least most of the characters already have their abilities. Mr. Grumpy. Only Sneakers and Amber actually need to learn their abilities. Get goal, avoid damage, 30 seconds. If you get damaged on this minigame, you automatically die and are sent back to the start if you try again. And usually it takes me a few tries on this minigame, but fortunately I got through it on the first try. That particular minigame is one of the harder minigames. Now that I have 4 lights, the door is open. So I go ahead and show that that door is open now. And then just to remind the player, I show the other doors that they still need to be opened. I wanted to convey a lot of the information visually without having to add a lot of text, because text uses up a lot of memory. Happy Camper. And that minigame was called Damage Wall. And it's hard to see here, but the icon for the land door does change a little bit once you've actually opened the door. So go into this door and come out in Caterpillar Land. Camera pans over to show Ability Dude's house. Typically the camera would show Ability Dude's house, and if there are land doors, it will show the land doors. Now, if you were to leave a particular area and come back with the required number of light to open the land door, it will always automatically show the land door open so that you know that it's happened. That was something else that I added that was a little difficult to accomplish. Getting things to happen automatically is not the easiest thing to do. I just collect a few more shards and show off the land door. And use the ability to go back. I'll go talk to Ability Dude, and what he says depends on who you are. He says, buttons. Sneakers needs 8 shards to learn Dragonite's ability. As you may have noticed, I'm really using the color coding to indicate, to highlight words and names, because I wanted the player to just easily distinguish who needed to do what. That way you don't even necessarily need to know the name of the character, you just need to know the corresponding color. Now I'll go back and learn the first ability, Dragon Eyes. Sneakers, you have 8 shards. I can teach you Dragon Eyes ability. Dragon Eyes lets you fly from one green shield to another. Sneakers, return when you have 30 shards and learn Loopy ability. And now I will walk away and totally forget that I need to learn Loopy ability until much, much later. On the map, you can now see the ability spots highlighted, so you know where to use the ability. You can also check the abilities that the characters have learned or possess. Go ahead and transform into a dragon and fly over to the other green shield. Now, one of the things about flying or going over water is that if you loop around the world, you will come out the world on the opposite side, and the special effects on the screen will not display properly. So one of the things that I did to prevent that from happening was that when the player gets to the edge of the map, it automatically sends you back to the start position for that particular map. This way there wouldn't be any visual funny business. I'll go ahead and show that off now, leave the map, and automatically be transported back to the start position. Can also use the warp to command to always return to the start position. So no matter where you are on the map, you can always use that warp to command. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to allow the player a nice shortcut to returning to the start position. Go ahead and change to Kara. For the most part, the name of the Defenders of Light were names of previous pets that I used to have. However, Kara is named after my sister. And the reason why Kara flies on a cloud is because Kara is a flightless bird. And I also thought it was funny, just floating on a cloud. Angry Wabbit. Outrun Avalanche. Ready, go. Reason why I have that is to prepare the player before anything starts happening. And I accidentally lost there, but I'll get to show off what happens when you quit the minigame, get one added to the retry count, and exit the minigame. Then the character will ask you if you want to play the game for this. I say no. I could have said yes. And now I'll just turn off the minigame win count as well as the retry count. And we won't see those again until the end of the demo. Go back into the minigame, get another shot at it, and fortunately, I lose yet again. So, try again. This time, I definitely make it again. For this audio recording, I had to make the audio after the fact, because I needed to do some editing with the video. It's a little bit harder to comment on it after the fact. Hoppy Bun Bun. Play Avalanche again? Nope, on to the next minigame. Yoda Evil is. Collect 5 coins, 30 seconds. In this minigame, I show off the fact that you can rotate the camera. For the most part, you can rotate the camera whenever you want. There are a few minigames where the rotation is restricted. You can also rotate the camera on the world map and in dungeons, which are what we're looking at right now. That's a dungeon. And this is a world map. So you can rotate the camera on both of those whenever you want. I open another land door and show off the fact that the last one still needs to be opened. The camera is only restricted when you see it forcibly being changed, such as when you talk to NPCs or go through land doors, even though it's not obvious. If I had rotated the camera around, it would reorient itself. Here we are in Aqualand, where there's absolutely nothing to do except collect shards. So I go ahead and change to Marley. Marley, by the way, is a girl and is named after my cat that I have right now. Marley is a pretty feisty cat. So I changed the camera angle here to make it look, make it easier to see things. Because when you get 50 shards, something special happens. And eventually I get 50 shards. And there we go, bonus light. 50 shards collected. Do some fancy rotation of the camera and add 1 light to the total. Now I'll go ahead and warp back to First World, which will automatically show that 7 light door is open now. Now what I should have done at this point was go back and get the ability for sneakers, but I forgot, so I won't do it until much later. That's okay. As you can see, the camera angle changes, but always returns to the camera angle that you've chosen. And at this point I was deciding if I wanted to stop the video here to do some editing or go through the door. Eventually I decided to go through the door. And here we are in RPG Land. Move the camera over and show the boss portal. And by the color we can tell that Kara needs to enter that boss portal to challenge the boss. And this RPG Land is a completely finished land. Everything about it is in working condition. It even has enemies to fight. Eventually I'll go back there. However, for now, I'm going to change to sneakers and fly over to where Ability Dude's house is. And can show off the map here. So also can see the points of interest on the map. Once again, use Dragon Eyes ability. Fly over to the green shield. Go into Ability Dude's house. Sneakers, Amber needs 20 shards to learn Buster ability. Okay. I'll change to Amber. Now with Amber, I'll be able to learn her abilities. First, I'm going to check the information in the X menu. She is a defender in training. She's a defender from the first of 3 worlds. Abilities would be shown there if she had any, and this is the skill power level. You'll gain an extra star every time you learn an ability or defeat a boss. And action doesn't do anything. I should have selected talk. And here I'll learn Buster ability. Buster allows you to temporarily destroy orange objects. Amber, return when you have 50 shards and learn Squishy ability. Well, she already has it, so automatically you have 50 shards. I can teach you Squishy ability. Squishy lets you flatten and pass through orange objects. There's nothing more I can teach you here, Dudette. Now her rank has gone up to Defender on a Roof, and we can see that she now has both of the abilities, and the skill power level has gone up by 2 stars. Also on that info screen, she's now level 3. We can see the description of the abilities here in the X menu, because why not? And you can of course view them in the square menu. You can also see the amount of time that you've been playing in the X menu. And that was one of the main reasons why I kept the X menu in the game, is because I wanted the player to be able to see the amount of playtime. As we can see, the orb is now gray, showing that we've learned all the abilities for that particular ability house. So now I'll go ahead and warp to RPG Land. Alright, back in RPG Land. We'll take a look at the map. You can see points of interest. What the map shows is where you need to use abilities. It'll also show land doors and boss portals, and also character select spots. When you defeat enemies, if you've lost any life, they will leave a health mushroom for you to pick up. If you don't pick them up quickly enough, they will go away. And Demon Spawn is challenging us to a minigame. Light 8 flowers, 30 seconds. And as you can see, the life was fully recharged now that we entered into the minigame. Every time you enter a minigame or finish a minigame, your life is recharged. You also get full life when you enter the character select menu. If you collect a light, you get full health. And if you collect a letter, you also get full health. Mike L. Angelo. And the name of that minigame was Flower Light. Go into the house here. And there's a place where I can use an ability. Also 2 shards. Use Squishy ability and end up on the roof. Collect the first letter, D. The letters will always be collected in order, DOLT3W, which stands for Defenders of Light, the 3 worlds. And I did that on purpose so that you'll never collect them out of order. I could have made it so that you could collect them out of order, but I decided against that. I figured it would make more sense if you collected them all in order. And then use Buster ability and temporarily destroy that tree. If I were to leave and come back, if I come back as another character, that tree will return. But if I come back as Amber, then the tree will still be gone. I think that the thing that you destroy also will come back if you leave the area. Like if you leave the world or the land and go somewhere else as Amber, I believe it will come back then. It's been a while since I tested it. But I believe that's the way it is. And that shows that that's Kara boss. And here I'm just showing that you cannot be stuck in enemies. I set it up so that you can't get stuck inside of an enemy. It's one of the things about RPG Maker 2 is you don't want to be stuck in NPCs. Also, if you save and you happen to be on top of an enemy, if you load up your game, that enemy will not be there. And as you can see, the life was replenished because we got the letter. And here's an example of a full screen. This is what happens when you want to view a dungeon. Now what I want to do is face the boss. First thing I need to do is change to Kara. The reason why the screen is lagging so much is because there's a lot of enemies walking around and a lot of shards and other things that need to be collected, so it does slow things down a bit. Unfortunately, there's no real way to make it any better. I tried my best to reduce slowdown, but it happens. Boss challenge. And here's the first and only boss for this particular demo. In a full game, there would be more bosses. Octoboss. Now I just show off what happens when you get caught by the tentacles. It says here options, but I probably should have edited to say something else. But the reason why it does that is because it brings you to the try again or quit challenge. Ideally, it would be nice if Octobus just threw the player directly in his mouth and then asked you if you wanted to try again or not. However, I had a lot of trouble setting that up. And eventually I might be able to get it to work. I did get it to work once before, but I forget what I did and didn't save it at the time. But apparently it is possible. As you can see, you can rotate the camera. It's pretty important to be able to rotate the camera during this boss. That way you can see the vital points that you have to hit. For those watching and who know anything about RPG Maker 2, you cannot fly through Octobus's head. However, once he's gone, you can pass through the spot where he's at. And that took a little bit of effort to set that up to work properly. Because for those of you who haven't used RPG Maker 2, even big objects like that don't have any actual substance, meaning you can pass through them. Get the final hit in, which sends Octobus into his death animation. I had a lot of fun with this animation. And collect boss light achieved. Beforehand, when you defeated the boss, you would actually be sent to a different area where the boss animation or the dying animation would happen. But I went ahead and fixed it so that it all takes place on the same map. It definitely looks a lot better that way. I apologize if there's any noise on my microphone. It's thirsty work trying to comment on the video, so I have to take a drink of water every so often. Hopefully it doesn't pick up on the microphone. Go ahead and collect the L. Have DOL so far. And I'll just warp back to RPG land. This will send the character back to the start position. This makes exploring RPG land a lot quicker. If you wanted to, you could use the ability to go back to where you were before. However, sometimes using the warp 2 command is faster. Go ahead and change to Kara. Magic Dragon. Defend shack, barricade windows, 30 seconds. So in this mini game, you have to put up these barriers, and as soon as the zombies outside try to knock down the barriers, they start becoming weak, and they'll turn from yellow to red and then disappear altogether. And that indicates that you have to rebuild the barrier. This mini game was strongly inspired by the zombie mod in Call of Duty. I'm not a big fan of Call of Duty, however, I do like the zombie mod. And once you finish it, all the fog that was there lifts and goes away. Collect the light and finish the minigame. A vast pirate. Arr. What kind of movies do pirates like? The ones that are rated R. This map for RPG Land is actually based off of a game that I made for RPG Maker 1. And there's also a special effect of when you walk inside and outside of things. There's a noise that goes shh, 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 every time you walk inside or outside of something in RPG Land. And the reason for that is because in a lot of RPGs, anytime you enter or exit something, it will go psh, 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 psh. Gen X Turtle. So I thought it'd be interesting to have each different area have something specific to it, some defining characteristic. Unfortunately, I hit the laser there, so I'm forced to try the minigame again. As the instructions say, you have to follow the path and avoid the lasers. If I remember correctly, I think this game was somewhat inspired by a minigame that appears in one of the, what was it called? Mario Party games. Can't remember which Mario Party game. That last little bit there where you have to go to the right is intended to throw the player off a bit, because the player would figure that the lasers would stop on the little golden spot where the light would appear. Fairy Maiden. Do you want to play Laser Wall again? No. So I'll just get the camera angle a little closer here. And click the T. Still have 2 letters to collect. So I'll warp back to the start position. The high camera angle is basically the optimum camera angle for this particular area. Having the high camera angle does recreate the feeling of playing a normal RPG. So I do set it back to that camera angle. Buttons may be able to use this. Marley may be able to use this. Now, I'll just go ahead and collect some more shards and use that character select spot to change characters. As you can see, it's a little easy to avoid enemies in this area. You don't have to fight them. In fact, fighting them can be a little bit difficult. The way that you defeat them is by pressing the triangle button. And it's probably not the best way to have enemies. However, I found it to be the way that uses up the least amount of memory. Go ahead and collect the letter 3 or the number 3. Exit out once again and go ahead and change to buttons. Now with buttons, we can return to the castle and use another ability. Travel through a secret tunnel in the wall. That ability is actually called Tunneler. Naughty King. Yes, I want to catch 15 fish. Now, for the minigames in this demo, they're all, if there is a time limit, they're all 30-second time limits. In the future, I might have minigames that have a 15-second time limit. But at this point, they're all 30 seconds. Catch 15 fish and collect the light. 5 out of 8 lights collected for this area and 12 lights overall. Good King. Play fishnet again? No. Okay, gonna change to sneakers. And once again use his Dragon Eyes ability. Now for Dragon Eyes ability, it doesn't matter which way you activate it. You can activate it in any direction you want. However, RPG Maker 2 restricts the way that you can land this thing. You have to be facing north, south, east, or west. You can't be facing any of the angles. And that's a strictly an RPG Maker 2 thing, and there's absolutely no way around it, unfortunately. Also, I noticed that when you travel on an angle, if you're flying around on an angle, that tends to go faster than if you're going straight. At this point, I'm just wandering around to show off the weather effects. The weather is a little bit random. It will randomly rain or be sunny, and you also get different seasons. The longer that you stay outside, the more the weather will change. And that's what happens when you don't get the life mushroom in time. And now it's starting to snow, of course. The snow does have different intensities. This intensity here is not the maximum amount of intensity, but one of the possible intensities. And the weather just cycles from rainy to sunny to snowy, and the lighting conditions change. Now it's time to harvest some daikon. And if you're wondering what a daikon is, that is a daikon. You could also call them a radish. Pretty much the same thing. Now I avoided the radishes that had hidden skulls in them. If I had picked up the hidden skulls, I would have lost a life and had to retry. Nice lady! Do you want to play Daikon Farm again? No, I want to warp right back to the start point. At this point, I'm fairly close to getting 100%. It's only a few more things to do. First thing is to change to Marley. Use his ability. Enter an alternate dimension and travel from one blue carpet to another. One of the things about the weather is that even though it's supposed to be completely random, it does tend to rain quite often. I'm not sure why that is, just the way the randomization works. It happens to favor rain. And this is supposed to be a sphinx. Now we're in the sphinx. And those traps, if you happen to get caught by them, will be an instant lose situation. If you do happen to lose, your character will be sent back to a specific position on the map. Anytime you transition from one map to another, that is considered a new start position. And also, anytime you use an ability, that is considered a new start position. Wow, it's a little hard to talk. Need a bit more water. But there we go. Finally have DOL T3W. I'll just change the camera angle again. Didn't realize that talking for so long would be so hard on my voice. It's probably because it's a little dry out today. I'll go ahead and change to sneakers. And really close now to getting 100% in this area. However, it was at this point that I realized that Sneakers had not learned all of his abilities. Okay, gotta fix that, do some fancy editing, warp back to First World. Edit, edit, edit. Here we are back in First World. Yes, 30 shards. I can learn Loopy ability. Thank you. Loopy allows you to travel around green loops. There's nothing more I can teach you here, dude. Edit, edit, edit. Back to where I was before. Now I can finally use this green loop. And get 50 shards eventually, after I check all of the totals. $50 shards collected. Hooray! Okay, on to the last minigame. Mummy Dryest. Mow lawn, avoid hidden skulls, 30 seconds. This minigame here where you mow the lawn was inspired by a very old video game that was made for the PET computer. I believe it was simply called Lawnmower. So I thought it'd be fun to make a minigame that was based off of that. There we go, got the final light for this area. Fill that guy with positive light power. Me, Pharaoh. Ha 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 ha. And now at 100% finally. With that, go ahead and warp back to Caterpillar Land. I left one shard there to go and collect, and this was why I left it there, so that I could control when the ending credits came up. Congratulations! You have completed the demo. Thank you so much for playing my game. Why not load a new game and try again? See you next time. Total minigames 12, minigame wins 12, overwin bonus 0. Reason why that is because you can play the minigames as much as you want and there'd be more added there. Got a retry count of 6. I did die once off screen. You should try for 100% next time. Alright, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. This has been a Yesterday's Moves production. See you next time.